Thank you all for tuning in to another edition of Outside the Shop with me, your host, Daryl D. Lane. As always, I want to thank you all for tuning in to the show that I get to talk about everything that I normally don't get a chance to talk about. My regular sports podcast, Barbershop Sports Talk, which you guys can find on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Check on the description below, and I will have Davonte Smith, little YouTube video. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, by the way. Why Davante Adams is the best wide receiver in the NFL. Now, there's a lot of choices. There's Tyreek Hill. There's Stephon Diggs. There is DeAndre Hopkins. There's DK Metcalf. Why Davante Adams is the number one wide receiver in the NFL. It's about 3-4 minutes. Check that out and definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, check out the podcast on Spotify, iTunes. Like I said, all the podcasting platforms. Me and Ben Karen host the Sports Crowder podcast. We previewed NFL Week 4, college football Week 5, and we talked about Kyrie Irving, Andrew Wiggins, vaccination, Brady going back to Gillette to face off against Bill Belichick in Foxborough, and Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow in the Bengals-Jaguars game. So a lot of good content there as well. So first, let's start with that Thursday night football game. So Joe Burrow was 17 of 20, passing for 253 yards in the second half of Thursday night. He ended up throwing for over 300 yards. Joe Burrow is here to stay. And later in this show, I'm going to get my top 32 quarterbacks in the NFL. And Joe Burrow's higher than maybe some people would think. I mean, I'm not very surprised. But Joe Burrow is a star in the making. He can do everything. He can get skinny in the pocket. He can stand up in the pocket. He can move outside the pocket, athletic enough to make plays. Very accurate. Has a good feel for the game. Great leader. And then you look at Trevor Lawrence. My major takeaway from this game with Trevor, it was not as good, even though the Jacksonville Jaguars played a lot better, is that Trevor is a spectacular athlete, right? Nobody can take that away from him. He made a couple throws that Joe Burrow can never make in his life. The issue is there's a bunch of simpler, more nuanced parts of the game that Trevor just isn't making. Trevor is an athlete playing quarterback, not a quarterback who's a good athlete, who's a really good athlete, right? That's the difference right now between Trevor and Joe Burrow, and that has to be fixed with Trevor Lawrence's game. Jaguars, like I said, young team. They have some potential. James Robinson, some young pieces on the defense. In a couple years, if Urban gets this thing right, they should be able to be solid. In terms of the Bengals, they're a wild card threat. Like Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, that's a connection. You got Tyler Boyd, you got T. Higgins. They have a pretty solid front seven. They have a decent secondary. Like, hey, the Bengals aren't half bad now. The Bengals aren't half bad, and they might get a game from the Ravens and the Browns in this AFC North divisional race. Like, so the Bengals are here to stay, folks. And they're looking like a team that can get to 10 wins. So let's put some respect on the Bengals' name. Now I'm going to get to this, my top 32 quarterbacks in the NFL. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start at 32, right? And some people that are omitted, like I'm not going to put Andy Dalton in here, right? I don't think Andy Dalton's necessarily going to start again. So Justin Fields will be in place for Andy Dalton, for example. Also, Jacoby Brissett, even though he's starting right now, and Davis Mills, they're both starting right now instead of Tyrod and Tua. I had both Tyrod and Tua in there. So without ado, let's start this. Let's start at number 32. Justin Fields had a very awful game against the Browns. His first ever game had 9 sacks, was like 5 of 26. It was abominable. I know a lot of that was play calling, but right now, from what I've seen, worst quarterback in the NFL. If I was going to put Davis Mills in here, Davis Mills will probably usurp him. But right now, it is Justin Fields at number 32. At number 31, Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger has not been very good. He can't throw more than 10 yards down the field. The physical ability to make spectacular plays, to make big-time plays down the field, it's almost gone. The completions he makes are because guys like Juju Smith-Schuster and Claypool can make tough catches, right? They're those type of receivers who can make tough contested catches. And he's not even controlling the game, right? He's turning the ball over, making errant throws, losing control of the football. So Ben Roethlisberger is number 31. Then we get into like another tier quarterbacks, and that would be at 32 Tagovailoa. Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson. No, actually, I'm wrong. 30 Tua, 29 Tyler Heineke. Number 28, Zach Wilson. Number 27, Trevor Lawrence. And number 26, Jalen Hurts. So I want to say this again. 26 is Hurts. 27 is Lawrence. 28 is Wilson. 29 is Heineke. 30 is Tua. These guys are all in kind of the same tier. Young quarterbacks. Not yet making enough plays that I would say warrant them being any higher in the list. They still make a ton of mistakes, raw. So bottom tier of the league, all four of these guys, all five of these guys, right? Again, 26, Jalen Hurts, 27, Trevor Lawrence, 28, Zach Wilson, 29, Heineke, and 30, Tua Tagovailoa. Now let's get to the next tier. At number 25, I have Mac Jones, and Mac Jones is a cut above the rest of these young quarterbacks. Doesn't turn the ball over for the most part, even though he did do that against the New Orleans Saints last weekend. I think he's the one who has the biggest scope of the offense, what he's supposed to do, plays within himself, can make some throws down the field. He doesn't have maybe the elite physical talent that the Hurtses do, the Lawrences, the Wilsons, but he plays within the confines of himself and the team better than all those guys. So he's at number 25. Then we get up to the next tier, guys. So 24, Carson Wentz, 23, Jared Goff, 22, Tyrod Taylor, 21, Daniel Jones. These are all guys who can make plays, have enough physical talent where, they can make some plays, they can run, they can throw, but consistently there's something that's just left to be desired to where I think these guys could truly be a quarterback for a championship football team, right? And that's what all these guys have right now. And this is just right now through week 3 of the NFL season, so things can change. Then we get to the next tier. So Jimmy Garoppolo's at 20. At 19, Teddy Bridgewater. At 18, Sam Darnold. Now, this tier, guys, these are kind of the game manager guys that I think if everything is perfect, they can win a Super Bowl, but I don't think they necessarily take advantage of everything their offense has to offer. I think they are guys who can go along to get along, get in the bus and kind of drive it fine, but they're not going to be the driving force of your football team. Then we get to the next tier, and these are guys with more high-level talent that I believe through stretches can actually take over a football game. Now, all these guys that I'm going to name, I believe they have the ability to take over a football game. Matt Ryan at 17, number 16, Kirk Cousins, 15, Jameis Winston, 14, Joe Burrow, 13, Baker Mayfield, and 12, Ryan Tannehill. This is the next tier. Tannehill was 12, and by the way, some people might not like to have Tannehill over Baker Mayfield. I just think he's maybe a little bit worse armed than Baker. Baker might have a little bit of a better arm, but I think Ryan Tannehill is bigger, faster, stronger, and that's why I kind of have Tannehill over Baker. I also think Baker's in a more offensive-friendly system than maybe a Tannehill is. And then you have Burrow at 14, who I think could be rising up the ranks. Jameis is a guy who could be in the top 10, but the concerns with Jameis are that all his good games, Sean Payton's only let him throw it like 20 times, right? Sean Payton doesn't trust him. For the guys in the top 11, top 10, right? I believe that you as an offensive coordinator, as a head coach, can be like, hey, we need you to throw 40, 50 times, and you're not going to F the game up. So that's the next tier. So this tier is at 17, Matt Ryan, 16, Kirk Cousins, 15, Jameis Winston, 14, Joe Burrow, 13, Baker Mayfield, and 12, Ryan Tannehill. Then we get to the next group, and this is the last kind of tier. These all 11 quarterbacks have elite traits. They can do something special. So at number 11, Lamar Jackson. Number 10, Dak Prescott. Number 9, Russell Wilson. Number 8, Tom Brady. Number 7, Derek Carr. Number 6, Matthew Stafford. Number 5, and actually I'll stop at number 5 because that's another tier in itself. But all 11 of these quarterbacks can do one thing special. But like I said, this next tier, right? So Matt Stafford 6, Derek Carr 7, Tom Brady 8, Russell Wilson 9, Dak Prescott 10, Lamar 11. And then this next tier, this is the final 5 tier. Now, these guys are guys any given week, after we watch a game of them, we can say they're the best quarterback in the NFL. And this would be at 5, Justin Herbert, 4, Kyler Murray, 3, Josh Allen, 2, Patrick Mahomes, and 1, Aaron Rodgers. Now, the reason that I have Aaron Rodgers out of Patrick Mahomes, who if he came into the season, I would have said Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in all of football, is that I think Aaron Rodgers plays within the confines of his system better than Mahomes. Mahomes can make more spectacular plays, but I believe that Aaron understands how to make the simple play and the solid play instead of making the spectacular play, which I think can hold back the Chiefs offense, where Mahomes will try to do no-look passes, throw it in triple coverage, do a lot more, stupid things that Aaron just won't do. Aaron has a better pulse of the game, and that's why I have Aaron Rodgers at number 1. So let's get to the NBA really quickly. The Philadelphia 76ers are going to withhold a game check from Ben Simmons, $8.5 million. This all but seals the deal that Ben Simmons isn't coming back. Once you take the man's money, you say you're not going to pay him, it's over. It goes scorched earth. Joel Embiid already made comments, that kind of went scorched earth too, but this kind of seals the deal. There's no way he's coming back. What he's going to want is he's going to want to get traded to a new team so they can try to recoup his money. That's what he's going to want to do, because if he does show up, are they really going to give him back his money? Probably not. It's an awkward situation. You already messed with the man's money, and he has to go. I think he has to file something legally or whatever to try to claim that it's unlawful what the Sixers did in terms of not giving him money, even though I don't think that's going to stand up, because obviously he's not showing up to work. So this is just ugly. I think the Ben Simmons era in Philadelphia is officially done. The question is, how long will he stay on this roster? That, my friend, is the question. Now, everybody, have a great day, and God bless, and thank you for tuning into this edition of Outside the Shop.